It is the last Friday of the month. The notification arrives on your phone. Your salary just hit the account. You look at the number, and for a brief quiet moment, before the rent, before the car payment, before the grocery list forms in your head, you feel it, that specific feeling. Safe, stable, taken care of. George Soros has a name for that feeling. He calls it a single client contract with a 30-day cancellation clause. And he says it is the most expensive illusion in modern finance. Think about what your salary actually is. Strip away the title. Strip away the performance reviews. Strip away the pension contributions and the company health plan. What remains is this. One organization has agreed to pay you a fixed monthly amount in exchange for your time and capability. That agreement can be terminated by them, not by you, with minimal notice, zero obligation to explain, and a severance package that runs out in weeks. You have built your mortgage around this agreement. Your car, your children's school, your self-image, your sense of who you are in the world, and any of it can be gone with one phone call on a Tuesday afternoon. That is not an asset. That is a liability, the most dangerous kind, because it feels exactly like the opposite. George Soros has spent 6 decades in financial markets identifying one specific phenomenon, the moment when an intelligent, hard-working person has built so much of their life around a fragile structure that they can no longer see the fragility. The structure feels solid because they are standing inside it. The danger is invisible because it is everywhere. Today, we are going to look at what your salary is actually doing to your financial life. Not in abstract terms, in the specific daily completely normal behaviors that are quietly making you more vulnerable with every passing year. This is not a video about quitting your job. This is a video about understanding, possibly for the first time, what your relationship with your salary is actually costing you before the cost becomes permanent. Let the countdown begin. Part 1. The salary illusion. What your paycheck is actually buying. Let us start with a question Soros would ask immediately, and that almost nobody in your life has ever asked you. If your salary stopped tomorrow, not because you quit, not because you chose to leave, but because the company restructured, your role was eliminated, or the industry shifted, how many months could you maintain your current life? Not the theoretical answer, the real one. Mortgage, car, kids, food, insurance, all of it. For most people, the honest answer is somewhere between 3 and 6 months. For many, it is less. This is not a personal failure. This is the architecture of the salary system working exactly as it was designed. Soros has a concept he returns to throughout his career: reflexivity. The belief shapes the behavior creates the reality reinforces the belief. In markets, this creates bubbles. In personal finance, it creates what we can call the salary trap. Here is how the trap is built. When you first earn the salary, you organize your life around it in modest ways. But as the salary grows, the life built on top of it grows with it. Bigger apartment, better car, school fees. The lifestyle expands to meet and slightly exceed the income. This feels like progress. It is actually increasing dependency, because every expansion of your lifestyle is a new layer of structural reliance on the salary, continuing to arrive. And every new layer makes the idea of the salary stopping more catastrophic. And the more catastrophic it feels, the harder you work to protect it. And the harder you work to protect it, the less time and energy and capital you have to build anything beyond it. The loop tightens every single year. Soros would call this a self-reinforcing feedback loop, moving toward an unstable equilibrium. In plain language, the more dependent you become on your salary, the more vulnerable you become to losing it, and the less able you are to survive that loss when it comes. And it always comes, not always as a firing, sometimes as a company that makes your role slowly irrelevant, sometimes as an industry that restructures itself around technology that does not need you, sometimes as a merger or a new manager or a budget cut that had nothing to do with your performance and everything to do with the spreadsheet you never saw. The salary always ends, The only question is whether you have built something outside of it before the day it does. Part 2, the 3 illusions. The salary's hidden cost. The salary does not just limit your wealth. It actively produces 3 specific illusions that prevent you from building beyond it. Illusion 1, the security illusion. Think about the 2 most financially anxious people you know. Not the poorest people, the most anxious. They're most stressed about money. The people who lie awake running numbers at 3 in the morning. There is a strong chance that both of them have steady salaries, that both of them are, on paper, doing everything correctly. Here is why this happens. A salary creates a sensation of security without the substance of it. It gives you a predictable monthly number, which feels like financial control, while masking the single most dangerous fact about your financial life. Everything depends on one source that can end without warning. Consider what would happen to any business that had only one client. One client who could cancel the contract at any time, with no notice, with no obligation to provide an alternative. Every competent financial advisor in the world would say this is existential risk disguised as stability. Your first priority must be to diversify. Your salary is that business model. Apply to your entire life. And here is the reflexive trap inside this illusion. The more secure the salary makes you feel, the more you structure your life around that feeling. The more you structure your life around it, the more genuine the dependency becomes. The more genuine the dependency, the more catastrophic the loss when the security proves to be a feeling rather than a fact. The security illusion creates the very fragility it was supposed to prevent. Illusion 2, the progress illusion. Now let us talk about James and Elena. James is 38 years old. He earns a strong salary at a company he has been with for 11 years. His income has grown steadily. He lives in a good neighborhood. The car is new. It took his family to Portugal last summer. By every visible metric, James is succeeding. But last November, his company announced the restructuring. Not his department, a different division, somewhere else in the building. And James lay awake that night, doing the mathematics he had never done openly before. 6 weeks of savings, the mortgage, the car lease, the school fees. He ran the numbers until 2 in the morning. He was fine. This time, but the number of months between him and complete financial collapse was a number he had never looked at directly, and he did not enjoy looking at it. He told no one. He went to work on Monday. He worked harder than usual that week. He is still working harder than usual that week. He is still working harder than usual. Elena is also 38. Similar salary to James. Similar responsibilities. But 3 years ago, she made one structural decision. She began extracting $500 per month from her salary before the lifestyle absorbed it and directing it into income-generating assets, not a savings account, capital, deployed into a structure that produces returns whether she is working or not. Elena also worried last November, but not about the mathematics. She already knew the mathematics. She worried about something else, whether she was moving fast enough. 5 years from now, James will receive another salary increase. His lifestyle will expand to accommodate it. His financial architecture will be structurally identical to what it is today. One salary, one phone call from zero. 5 years from now, Elena's secondary income stream will have grown from something negligible into something real. Not enough to live on alone, but enough to change the mathematics of our worst-case scenario. Enough to prove that the structure works. Enough to accelerate. This is the progress illusion in its clearest form. When your salary increases, you feel like you are moving forward. In one narrow sense, you are. But if the architecture underneath does not change, if everything still depends on one source, then the salary increase has not changed your financial position. It has only increased the size of the life built on top of a single point of failure. Progress is not a bigger number on the same fragile structure. Progress is building a second structure, while the first one still stands. Illusion 3, the loyalty illusion. At some point in your career, you made a decision, probably without consciously making it, to invest a significant portion of your best hours, your best thinking, your best energy into building someone else's asset. The company you work for is worth something. It has equity. It has a future. And every hour you spend making it more valuable is an hour you did not spend making your own position more valuable. This is not an argument against working hard. Soros worked harder than almost anyone in finance for the entirety of his career. This is an argument against a specific kind of mathematics, the kind where you receive a fixed monthly payment in exchange for an unlimited contribution, where the upside of your performance is capped at your next salary review, and where the equity, the actual ownership of what you are building, belongs entirely to someone else. Charlie Munger put it directly: the employee is always by definition working at a structural disadvantage relative to the owner, not because the employee is dishonest, because the mathematics are different. The employee trades time for a fixed price. The owner trades capital for an uncapped return. These are not equivalent positions, and the salary is the mechanism that makes the inequality feel reasonable. The loyalty illusion tells you that your dedication will be rewarded, that your position is secure because of the quality of your contribution. Sometimes this is true for a while, until the merger, until the restructure, until the new leadership with a different vision, until the algorithm that does in 3 seconds what used to take you 3 hours. The company is loyal to its own survival. Your salary is a transaction. Understanding it as a transaction rather than as a relationship is the beginning of building something that cannot be taken from you with a phone call on a Tuesday afternoon. Part 3, the reflexive loop. Why salary dependency tightens every year. The 3 illusions do not operate independently. They form a single closed loop that tightens with every passing year. The security illusion makes you structure your life around the salary. The more you structure your life around it, the more you need it to continue. The more you need it, the more appealing the progress illusion becomes, because a salary increase feels like improvement without requiring any structural change. The more you optimize for salary increases, the more your professional identity fuses with your role. The more fused the identity, the more the loyalty illusion takes hold. And the more loyal you feel to the employer, the less energy and capital you direct toward building outside of it. Every year the loop tightens one more turn. Every year the cost of escaping feels higher. Not because the exit is objectively harder, but because more of your life has been organized around the salary continuing. Soros watched this pattern at the macroeconomic level for decades. He watched governments and institutions become addicted to structural conditions that were slowly becoming unsustainable, unable to change because the perceived cost of change had become higher than the perceived cost of continuation, right up until the moment when continuation became impossible. The people who lost money when Soros made his most famous trades were not foolish. They were trapped by the reflexive accumulation of decisions that have made the status quo feel like the only viable option. Here is the number that makes this concrete. Research from the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics shows the average person changes jobs 12 times in their career, but fewer than 15% of those changes represent a structural shift, a move toward ownership, toward equity, toward a meaningfully diversified income architecture. The other 85% are lateral moves, same structure, different employer, different number. The loop continues, just in a new building. If you earn $60,000 a year for 30 years, your lifetime salary income is $1.8 million. For the median household, the actual wealth standing at the end of those 30 years is approximately $130,000 in net liquid assets. $1.8 million in, 130,000 standing, not because of bad luck, because the loop ran for 30 years uninterrupted. Part 4, the Soros framework. 3 shifts that break the loop. Right now you are probably doing one of 2 things with the money left after your monthly expenses. You are saving it in an account that feels responsible and is losing real purchasing power to inflation every single year. Or you're spending it on things that feel earned, the better dinner, the upgrade, the small luxury that the salary makes possible and the lifestyle has quietly made necessary. Both behaviors serve the same function. They return the capital to the consumption cycle. They keep the money inside the salary system rather than outside it. And as long as the money stays inside the system owns you. Here are the three shifts that break this. Shift one, the reclassification shift. You reclassify your salary from an asset to what it actually is, a single client contract with a 30-day cancellation clause. Right now you optimize for the salary because you see it as your primary financial asset. You protect it. You perform for it. You organize your self-worth around it. This is the behavior of someone who believes their most important financial resource is secure. The moment you reclassify it, the moment you see it as a single client who can cancel without warning, your behavior changes immediately. You still serve that client well because the contract has real value while it exists, but you also recognize with unavoidable clarity that this client must not be your only client. Building a second income source stops being something you will do someday and becomes something you must begin this month. Soros applied this logic to every position he ever held. No market position was ever treated as permanent. It was always a temporary condition, valuable now, requiring a replacement to be built before its value diminished. This discipline is why he was never catastrophically caught on the wrong side. He never confused a temporary advantage with a permanent one. Your salary is a temporary advantage. The question is whether you are building while it lasts. Shift 2, the capital extraction shift. Look at your take-home pay this month. Before the rent, before the groceries, before the car. Right now, what percentage of that number is being deployed into assets that will continue producing returns, whether you work or not? For most people, the honest answer is almost none, because the lifestyles has expanded to absorb the income, because the salary has been so effective at producing a feeling of security that it has also been effective at consuming the capital that could build real security. The capital extraction shift is this: you remove 10 to 15% of your take-home pay from the system before the system consumes it. Not emergency savings, not the holiday fund. Capital. Deploy it into structures that produce income independently of your hours, equity in a business, income-generating investments, skills that can generate consulting income, any position that builds a financial architecture outside the salary system. Elena is not building a different future than James because she earns more. She is building a different future because she made one structural decision 3 years ago and has not reversed it since. The specific amount matters less than the discipline. The discipline matters less than starting, because every month you delay is a month of compounding that belongs to someone else's financial future instead of yours. Shift 3. The identity decoupling shift here is the question that will tell you whether you are trapped by the loyalty illusion or free of it. If your employer called you tomorrow and said your position is being eliminated, how much of your sense of who you are would leave with it? Not your income, your identity, your sense of purpose, your answer when someone at a dinner party asks what you do. For most people in their 30s and 40s, the honest answer is a significant amount, because the professional identity and the financial identity have fused. The title, the company, the salary level. These are not just descriptions of how money is earned. They are descriptions of who the person is. And this fusion is one of the primary mechanisms by which the salary trap maintains its hold. Soros has written extensively about the necessity of holding beliefs lightly, not because beliefs do not matter, but because a belief held too tightly, a position you cannot exit without losing your sense of self, is a position that will eventually be held past the point where it is rational to hold it. The identity decoupling shift means building a parallel identity that persists regardless of who employs you. You are not a marketing director who invests on the side. You are a person building financial independence who currently works in marketing. The salary is the tool. The building is the purpose. This shift does not change what you do tomorrow. It changes why you do it. And that change in why, compounded over years, produces an entirely different destination. Part 5. The window. Why now is the only time that matters. There is a specific window in every person's financial life where the salary trap can be most efficiently dismantled. It is not in your 20s when the capital base is too small. It is not in your late 50s when the structural constraints have become too embedded. It is the window between roughly 35 and 52. In this window, something remarkable is available to you. You have enough salary income to generate meaningful capital if you extract it correctly. You have enough career experience to identify opportunities that younger people cannot see. You have enough network to access deals and partnerships that are never publicly available. And you have enough time for the compounding of a parallel financial structure to produce results before the salary years. And this is the window Soros used most productively. Not by abandoning the professional structures he was operating inside, but by building relentlessly outside them, accumulating the independent framework and the financial architecture that would eventually allow him to operate entirely on his own terms. You are looking at the same window right now. Not the theoretical future window where the conditions are better and the timing is right. This window, the one that has been open for some time and does not stay open forever. The mortgage is real. The responsibilities are real. The legitimate reasons why now feels complicated are real. Soros would not dismiss any of them. He would simply point out that none of them are new and none of them are going to become less complicated by waiting. The leverage you have right now, the income, the experience, the network, the pattern recognition that only comes from years of real decisions is greater than it has ever been. The question is not whether you have it. The question is whether you are using it or spending it on maintaining the dependency that is quietly growing stronger with every year you delay. Conclusion, the final test. Imagine yourself at 75. You cannot work. You are looking at your financial picture, the actual monthly income, the actual level of freedom, the actual answer to the question of whether you built something or only earned something. And you are looking back at the window between 35 and 52. You are not asking whether you worked hard enough. You worked hard. You always worked hard. You are asking one thing, did I build or did I only earn? Did I reclassify the salary before it classified me? Did I extract capital from the system before the system consumed it? Did I decouple my identity from a job title before that title was taken from me? Or did I spend those years optimizing the dependency, earning more, spending more, building more of my life around the monthly number until the day the number stopped and there was nothing standing behind it? George Soros made his wealth by looking at familiar, comfortable, widely accepted structures and asking the question that most people find too uncomfortable to ask, is this actually what I think it is? Your salary is a familiar, comfortable, widely accepted structure. You have organized your life around it. The people around you have organized their lives around theirs. It feels like security. It feels like an asset. It feels like the right foundation to build on. One source, one client, 30-day cancellation clause, no equity, no ownership, no compounding, nothing that persists after the last payment arrives. Is that an asset, or is that the most expensive illusion you have ever purchased? You now know what Soros would say. The question is what you are going to do with that answer. That is all. Thanks for watching.